I'm a sinner just like everyone else, and I am not beyond making massive mistakes. If you look up to me, rather than looking up to those that are better than me, what you will do is if I fail, your hope in me will be disappointed. Liberal progressives, because they don't believe in freedom of speech and because they don't believe in the idea of the free exchange and critique of ideas, and they want to make a golden calf out of certain ideas, whip themselves up into hysterics if you critique certain identities. When you start to shut down the idea that you can't even question a multi-racial state or a multi-ethnic state, and you're saying that such talk should be illegal, what you're doing is you're setting yourself upon a slippery slope. And we need to look beyond the example of our parents and grandparents and our great-grandparents and start looking back to the martyrs and the saints of old, to those champions of faith, both apostolic and in the age of the church, that demonstrate to us that the Christian life is one of conviction, one of courage, one of heroism, one of sacrifice, one of self-discipline.
My question
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, man. A lot of people, they see it as a social celebrity, which I mean, like last week, I came to the march last week, and I saw like a lot of people decide, a lot of Christians just speaking out.
Okay.
Why do people like that guy?
Shall we go over there? Yeah, I'll address that question, JC. Where are you from? So, just because you got such a quiet voice.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
So the question was, what were my thoughts on people thinking that I'm a celebrity?
Yeah, you're like kind of like, a lot of people respect you within the Christian community because you speak out quite a lot.
My thoughts on that are this.
Defend the faith very well, man.
This is my thoughts on this.
Yeah.
If you bear with me. So the question is, what are my thoughts about being a social celebrity?
Yeah.
And I think the best way to answer that is from Scripture. In Exodus 20, verse 4, it reads, "You shall not make for yourself an idol, or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water underneath the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments." So in answer to what I think, I would say to anyone who thinks me some kind of celebrity is, don't put me on a pedestal. I'm not dead yet. I could still screw up majorly. I'm a sinner just like everyone else, and I am not beyond making massive mistakes. If you look up to me, rather than looking up to those that are better than me, what you will do is if I fail, your hope in me will be disappointed. So I would caution you not to put me on any kind of pedestal, and instead look to Christ directly and to the saints and the martyrs of old, who, because they are dead, cannot make a mistake, and so their example can remain unimpugned. If you want to make a celebrity out of me, wait until I'm dead and buried. And if my example is worthy, then and only then. But before that, whilst ever I'm living, see me as a sinner and focus your example on Christ and on the martyrs and the saints. Any other questions?
No, that's all, man.
So what's the purpose of this documentary?
I'm just doing a student documentary on Speaker's Corner.
And why are you doing that out of interest?
Just like, I watch a lot of videos online, I've seen you online as well. And it's very interesting. I mean, like, from like the 1800s, I'm seeing Speaker's Corner like change. Like 95% of Speaker's Corner, when I was here last week, is actually about religion.
Yeah.
And 5% about Scientology and politics. But politics and kind of religion intertwined with each other. I'm trying to get a feel on what Speaker's Corner is about, and try and see like all these different like social celebrities. Like, so, of course, like a lot of people look up to you, and you're one of them from the Christian community.
Yeah. Well, I think for myself, Speaker's Corner has a fantastic tradition that is increasingly being shut down by liberal progressives. Liberal progressives, because they don't believe in freedom of speech and because they don't believe in the idea of the free exchange and critique of ideas, and they want to make a golden calf out of certain ideas, whip themselves up into hysterics if you critique certain identities. And they are increasingly trying to push that to include the idea that underpins that identity, not just the identity itself. So it would be wrong in this current society if you were to single out someone based upon their ethnicity. And that's right to do that. You know, it's right that should be wrong, it's right that it should be scandalous, and it's right that it should be something that is challengeable. However, the liberal progressives want to shut down any kind of conversation, even ideas that might mean discussing uncomfortably questions around ethnicities. Now, I'm not an ethno-nationalist, I'm a Christian. I'm just using that as an example. But when you start to shut down the idea that you can't even question a multi-racial state or a multi-ethnic state, and you're saying that such talk should be illegal, what you're doing is you're setting yourself upon a slippery slope. And just for the record, because I know there's probably some hysterical liberal progressive who will now accuse me of being some racist, to be clear, the church is a multi-ethnic society. It's a multi-ethnic community. I have no problems with multiplicity of ethnicity or sharing my space with others of different ethnicities. But it should be allowed for people to question that and critique it, and to say, actually, you Christians are wrong for mixing races.
I did see you on one of the videos going around with the Antifa and ethno-nationalists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that the Antifa, the ones who say they're anti-fascista, they're the ones who are more violent and aggressive.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are going around just like trashing all these political events.
Yeah.
Going into lectures, fighting people on the streets, wearing balaclavas.
The antifascista are just a group of bourgeois middle-class children who are desperately seeking an existential meaning to their lives and have attached themselves to a cause of hatred, the hatred of fascism. But the thing is, they are duly manipulated to see anyone as a fascist who questions a much wider, broader spectrum of left-wing ideas. You know? And we see this kind of toxicity entering into political discourse in this country that is increasingly shutting down debate and discussion in a way that is harmful to democracy. Because democracy can only thrive if people are free to speak and if they are free to say things with which we disagree, and to form parties based upon ideas with which we wish to oppose. We know from our own history in Europe that if you don't allow a mechanism by which people can advocate ideas that are contrary to the norm, then it results in revolutions and civil strife. And I find it not accidental nor peculiar that there is increasing civil tension in our society as our society increasingly clamps down on the ability to speak freely. I don't think that those two things are not linked. Anyway,
thank you so much.
what, just out of interest, where do you come from spiritually?
I'm half Indian, half Indian.
Okay.
So my mum's sides are Hindu, my dad's side are Catholic. But I never really grew up religiously.
Okay.
But I mean, sometimes I go to church and pay my respects to my grandmother, or sometimes I go to a Gurdwara, pay respects to my other side. But I'm not religious, but you know, I mean, I think it's brilliant what you guys are doing here and speaking out on your faith. It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you busy? Are you needing to go? Or are you able to talk for a bit?
No, so just go around for a bit.
Okay.
I'll come back later on.
Well, I leave at 3, but you know, when you next come to the corner, if you come to the corner, even as an individual, come and grab me. I'd like to talk to you about the same kind of things that I talk to anyone else.
Yeah, no worries.
All right? You look
Follow us on Twitter as well. You can DM you on Twitter.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter?
So I feel so good.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter and then we can arrange to meet.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Any questions you would ask you? Thank you. Any particular issues that you want to resolve?
How are we doing? Oh, I've not been doing this for 6 years, but that's very kind of you.
Maybe less than.
Maybe you're mixing me up with someone else. Or maybe it just feels like 6 years.
I wanted to record a video for my I'm a Christian as well.
Okay.
And I believe we shouldn't be like weak Christians.
Yeah.
Like you said in the past.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to record a video so people can, so my Christian friends can see it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to talk about?
About not to be a weak Christian. Right?
Okay.
And not to just quiet in church and not doing nothing.
Sure. All right.
What's going on?
So what channel is this?
Called Inspire Champion.
Inspired Champion. All right.
Yeah, they don't want it because I'm ruined.
Yes, I've been watching this for 5 years.
We're going to do an interview.
Yeah, I'm going to interview.
Okay.
So do you want to ask questions?
Oh, you want to Yeah, I just want to ask a question.
Okay.
For my Christian brothers.
Bob is free. You okay?
Yeah. What time is it? 3 o'clock.
And we missed
Oh, brother,
3:05.
I am so sorry.
It won't be that long.
I'm so sorry. I have to go. I should have gone 5 minutes ago. I didn't even realise that.
But next Sunday, come at 1 o'clock.
Are you coming next Sunday?
Yeah, I'm regular now. Yeah, probably next Sunday.
Yeah. Come
What time do you?
I usually I have to leave at 3
Oh, okay.
because I work for a church,
Oh,
so I have to work on a Sunday.
So are you here from the morning to 3?
I'm here until usually between 1, 3 o'clock.
1 or 3 o'clock. Are you ever in the evening?
Am I ever here in the evenings? How long do you think your interview will last?
Like a minute.
Like you just want to ask one question?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it, and I'll just have to. I might be able to get back. Yeah. So your question. You might want to come close with that microphone unless it's really good.
So Bob, I just want a message for people watching my channel, Inspire channel, my Christian friends and everyone. Like, I keep telling them like they shouldn't be weak Christians, like you said many times in the video. Because all they do is go to church and be quiet. They don't preach the gospel and stuff, or like show love to others. They just want to just go to church and sit on the back bench. That's it. So I just want to clarify things for my viewers. Like,
Okay.
is it okay to be a weak Christian, or should they be more outspoken?
I mean, I think as Christians, what we have received, particularly young Christians like yourselves, what we've received from our immediate parents and grandparents and great-grandparents is a deformed Christianity, a weak Christianity, a Christianity that has lost its courage, has lost its spine, to be really blunt, has lost its balls, basically. And the reason for that is historical. The church at one time used to be the guardian of civilization, the guardian of truth, the heart and soul of our culture and country. And since the Enlightenment, it has become weak, cowardly, shy, bashful, humbled, humiliated. And we as Christians have been brought up in that context where we think that that is what it means to be a Christian, to live a Christian life. But the reality is that the Christian faith, the Christian community, if you look at the examples of history, you look at the examples of the saints and the martyrs, our faith was never like that until recently. It is a very recent thing that we've become like that. And we need to look beyond the example of our parents and grandparents and our great-grandparents and start looking back to the martyrs and the saints of old, to those champions of faith, both apostolic and in the age of the church, that demonstrate to us that the Christian life is one of conviction, one of courage, one of heroism, one of sacrifice, one of self-discipline, where our identity is built on our Christian faith, nothing else, and it is opposed to those truths that contradict our faith. And so I would say to your friends that the faith that you should follow is not the one that you receive from your parents. It's not the one that you see in your grandparents, and it's not the one you see in your great-grandparents. These 3 generations of the church have been the failure of the church. The church is only as strong and as weak as we allow it to be. It is only as strong and as weak as we are strong and weak. It is only rich or poor as we give access to our funds. It is only as brave as we are brave. It is only accomplished as we are accomplished. It is only as smart as we are smart. It is only as self-disciplined as we are self-disciplined. What virtues and vices we bring to the church is. So if we want the church to be better, we have to be better ourselves. And we don't see that kind of example in our parents and great-grandparents. We have to look to the saints and martyrs who came before them and follow their example.
What about Samuel 1? Thank you very much.
Peace be with you, brother. You look after yourself. Maybe we think of another question, we do another one. Peace be with you, brother.
Samuel 1, chapter 15, verse 3 verses.
I'm really sorry, but I got to go.
Why did Jesus say to kill the donkey and the sheep?
Next week.
3 o'clock, man.
Because that nation...
Amalekites.
Yeah.
So that's Almighty God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Brutal times.
Why?
Brutal times.
So why kill the Amalekites?
Brutal times.
But then you say Jesus loved... You got Christians saying Jesus
Yeah, I've got to go. You can walk with me, but I've got to go.